Hey, it's Tim here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up Snowflake inside of Visual Studio Code. Now, to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and use Alfred on my Mac to open up VS Code. So let's type in Visual Studio Code. It comes up. And here we are in Visual Studio Code. Now, I've got a completely vanilla setup. So hopefully, if you just got VS Code, you should be familiar with the landing page and the Getting Started page. The first tool we need to install is called SQLTools. So let's go ahead to the extensions area here on the left-hand side. You just go to this icon, select it, and you'll see extensions are available. Now you can search for SQLTools just by typing SQLTools. And the reason we're looking for this is because it's actually the main tool that the Snowflake driver uses. In essence, the Snowflake plugin uses this capability to essentially allow you to use VS Code as a database. So we're going to go ahead and install SQLTools. We'll hit install. And once that's installed, we can then go and search for tools that are supported by this particular extension. Now, if you want to find out all the databases that are supported by this, if you go over here to the left, you'll see we now have a new cylinder that's been added to the view. So let's go ahead and click on that. And this is where SQLTools lives. I'll close this little pane on the right-hand side so we have a completely clear canvas. I'll go ahead and add a new connection, and you'll see that we have no connections set up here. Now, if you search VS Code Marketplace, it actually goes and searches all of the extensions in Visual Studio Code with this tag here at the top that shows you all the drivers that are available. And what you can do is you can just go ahead and type in Snowflake and you'll find it straight away. So this is the only driver for Snowflake supports SQLTools. So if you go ahead and hit install, that will work. Now, let's say you don't know that tag, you can just type in Snowflake and you'll find a bunch of tools that allow you to do various things with Snowflake. So I'm going to go ahead and install this one still because that's what I want to use. Select SQLTools, select install. Now that's installed, when we go back to our SQLTools tab, we close this little tab here, and here we'll see that when we add a new connection, Snowflake now appears in my list of database drivers. We can now go ahead and set up Snowflake. Let's go ahead and select Snowflake. And once you've done that, we can give this connection a name. So I'll give it a name. I'll call it Snowflake. The account that I'm going to use is actually, this always catches me out. I never get this right, whatever service I'm using. So let me show you how to get this correct every single time. What you want to do is you want to copy the link to your account. And then once you've got that, this is the URL that you normally sort of go in and log into your Snowflake account if you're going via the browser. You want to delete everything from .snowflakecomputing.com, and you want to delete everything from the beginning and just remain with these two things. Essentially, your account identifier is the account and then the Amazon region that it's hosted in. So EU West 1 is the one I have, and then DC73084 is my particular account. Now, everything else is going to be pretty straightforward for this. So we'll go with my username and we'll go ahead with my password. Okay. And once we've done that, we're still not done yet because we need a couple more things. Now, what I've done is in my notes, I've gone ahead and copied some of these so I don't have to type them in front of you. So let's go ahead and put my Tableau demo database. And the warehouse I'm going to use is called Compute Warehouse. It's actually an extra small Snowflake compute instance, so that's all it is. And once we've typed all those details in, we've made sure we've completed that correctly. Just go down to the very bottom and you've got the ability to test the connection over here on the bottom right-hand side. Let's go ahead and hit that. If the test is successful, you should see a green area pop up on the left-hand side right here saying that that was successfully connected. So now that that's there, we're ready to save this connection. And we're pretty much ready to work with Snowflake. Now you'll see here that you get a JSON syntax for the connection. This is essentially how VS Code works. It's a web tool, so it stores everything in JSON somewhere on the computer. And this is essentially how it's going to work. Now I really hope it doesn't store this as text. I'd probably need to do a bit of research to find that out. So if you're not 100% certain, go find out somewhere on the internet where exactly it keeps this syntax. I've blurred it out in my case because I don't want you to see my username and password. But nonetheless, if you go over here to the left-hand side, you can see that the connection is now available. So if we go ahead and click on it, you'll see that it's ready to work. Now, when I click on it, the first thing it will do is actually go off and create the connection and open up a blank SQL canvas. You can see that that's what it's done here. My SQLTool settings is still over here. I can go ahead and close that. So every time you do something, it tends to open a tab here in VS Code. Now, I can run SQL. So what kind of SQL can I run? Well, let's go ahead and I'm going to just go and I'm just going to write something actually. Select star from, and I'm going to grab some information from a specific database. So let's I'm going to grab some text. This is obviously not written for me. So let's go ahead and hit paste. So basically what I'm doing is I'm grabbing it from a specific identifier. The identifier is pointing to the orders table in the public schema in my Tableau demo database. And I'm limiting it to 100. I'll come back to that limit in a second. Let's go ahead and highlight that, hit run on active connection, and boom, we get another tab with our data. And now we're pretty much good to go. So if I wanted to, I could just close this tab with my SQL. I'll show you how to get that back in a second. So here we are with my tab with SQL. Now the great thing is, because this is VS Code, you can hit Command minus or Control minus on a Mac to make it all fit in the window, or hit Command plus to make it larger. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. Now the last thing to show you is here at the bottom, we have a console. The console just reads out what's going on. So you can see here the SQL console messages successfully executed, 100 rows were affected. Now, one of the quirks with this tool is it only loads the first 50 rows in the view. If you want more rows, I think there is a way to sort of page through the rows. So I can't remember how to do that off the top of my head. But nonetheless, if you want to export or work with that data, you're also able to do that. Rerun the query, everything is all there. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is all your SQL queries are actually stored for that particular session. So on the left-hand side, you can see there's an actual history that shows you all the queries you've run. So if you delete something, you close something, you want to get it back, you can obviously go here and find it. So if I go ahead and tap this, you'll see it opens up that window. I actually clicked it twice by mistake. If I actually go and clear this, you'll see that as I click on that, it just pastes it into the SQL window. Then I'm able to just go ahead and run the active connection, and it just works. So super simple, nice and easy, a really good way to use SQL inside of VS Code to do some work. If you're already in VS Code to do some other data work, this is going to be a handy way of just very quickly doing some basic work here, so you don't have to go out to another tool to do it. Hopefully you found this video useful. I'm still learning Snowflake. This is why I've made this video. So if you found this video useful and you're interested in learning Snowflake or Tableau, this is hopefully a channel to follow. So thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.